Shafele, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of iDiski Waya Waya, hosted by your boy King SMS Zwite, where we're talking all things South African football. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, we want to say thank you to everybody who's been supporting us. Thank you so much to everybody who's been subscribing to our YouTube channel. Please keep on subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. And obviously, also a big shout out to Ekaya Classic Records for an amazing sound. So if you need anything that's got to do with sound, please make sure that you contact Ekaya Classic Records. You can find them on social media everywhere: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Ekaya Classic Records. Yeah, so we're going to get straight into it. Before we get to what's happening this week in terms of the Betway Premiership, I just want to do a weekend recap. Yeah, oh, what a weekend. Some of the things that we we got unexpected, you know. So you know that the big three was playing. Also, actually, I'd like to apologize. Actually, I didn't mention the Stellenbosch that was also playing on CAF Confederations Cup in the weekend. So I forgot to mention them in the previous episode. Apologies to that. But they were also playing because they're representing South Africa in the CAF Confederations Cup. So Orlando Pirates was playing Betway Premiership. Kaizer Chiefs was playing CAF Confederations Cup, and Mamelodi Sundowns was playing CAF Confederations Cup, and Stellenbosch was also playing CAF Confederations Cup. And you remember very we episode we I did some predictions. I know well with like, for example, with Mamelodi Sundowns, obviously because I thought Sundowns was gonna win, but they got a draw 2-2, and we're gonna talk about that game. And then Kaizer Chiefs, I did say Kaizer Chiefs has a possibility of winning 1-0 or maybe get a draw, and they got the win 1-0. So we got that one right. And then in terms of Orlando Pirates, obviously we're expecting Orlando Pirates to win. But I did say it's gonna be a difficult game, so there was a possibility of a draw, and yeah, definitely they got a draw, 0-0 against Sekhukhune United. And then the Stellenbosch, they lost. They lost 2-0 weekend CAF Confederations Cup. But I wanna look at the big three, obviously, which is Mamelodi Sundowns, Kaizer Chiefs, and Orlando Pirates. Firstly, let's look at Orlando Pirates. So Orlando Pirates obviously had a game in hand and two games in hand. So they were playing one of the games that they have. They played against Sekhukhune, and winning that game was really gonna take them to literally 31 points because they were on 28 points. So it was gonna take them to 31 points and get them on the top because Sundowns is in 29, Chiefs is in 27. So they were supposed to win that game so that they can at least stretch them, make sure that they stretch their race. But yeah, they got it through 1-0. And honestly speaking, it was not a good game. I think the game only started being a little bit better in the last minutes of the game. I think around 75 to 80 minutes to 90 minutes. I think that's when it started to be really good. And for me, obviously, when you're looking at Sekhukhune, and I'm very disappointed with Eric Tinkler because Eric Tinkler is one of my favorite coaches. Eric Tinkler is one of the coaches that I know that is always about to attack. But I was very disappointed in him against Pirates because you could see that this guy is coming in to get a draw. There was nothing. There was no chances being created. No goal scoring opportunities. They were not trying to score a goal. You know, they have a striker, Hobler, was not getting any balls in the 18. You know, there was nothing happening in the box of the Pirates. There was nothing. Sekhukhune was just there parking the bus, just waiting to get a throw. It was a terrible display for me, honestly. But also with Pirates as well, I think Wadu, I mean, I understand. I see what he was trying to do. Obviously, we're trying to give other players an opportunity to play, and also just maybe arrest a bit of the Bafana guys, the guys that went to AFCON with Bafana. So you're trying to rest them with being a Kali game, but which I think we should because he had like plus minus 6 players who haven't played for such a long time. You know, like the likes of Sibelebele, who I really feel like didn't have a good game, you know. So I injured also does that, you know. So for me, I think Pirates really had a chance to win the game, but wow. And I think Uwadu for me, because one of the coach that I really believe in, and I think he's a good coach, he's a great coach. But in that game, I don't know what happened. I think, it's either relaxed kakhulu or he's trying to, lento le uzama ukushintsha abadlali. But for me, it also doesn't make sense because the only thing that you have now is Betway Premiership. Obviously, there's Nedbank Cup, but come on, you've won current knockouts, you've won M108. So you already have 2 cups already, two trophies already. So right now, what you should be fighting for is Betway Premiership and play your best squad. Don't try with, I want to chop and change some players because of whatever. Play your best squad. Chop and change Nedbank Cup. If Nedbank Cup Puma, it's fine. You got nothing to lose that much because you already have 2 trophies. So now you need to get a Betway Premiership because obviously winning a Nedbank Cup is going to take you to Confed, which you might not even go because you're obviously going to be number 1 or number 2. So for me, Uwadu, I don't understand why Uwadu decided to play ama-players akhe angadlali, where he has magicians on the ngaphandle abo Relevule Mofokeng abo Aswena Police bahleli ngaphandle. You decide to play guys that haven't played for quite some time. So I don't know what he was trying to do because right now mina nguwadu ngabe ngifocus ku Premiership okunye nokunye ngizokungiyeke because that's the only thing that is needed now because you can win those 2 trophies with Pirates, but I'm telling you, Pirates bought all these players because they wanted CAF Champions League, which you went out before you even get to group stages. So that's already the problem. Because remember, they got M108 last season, so they don't really have a problem with it. They got they've won 2 trophies in one season, so it's not really a thing for them. They want to make sure that they get CAF Champions League. So we've already failed with that. So now they want to make sure that they win Betway Premiership. So now you can't fail that because if you fail that, it means you failed the mission. And Pirates they can fire you. They have a right to do that because it means you failed the mission. But I don't think Pirates will fail the mission. It's still on their hands to win the Betway Premiership because they still have a game in hand, which is quite interesting. And I'm going to get into that because I saw one of the journalists actually wrote something. Well, it's a banter. It's not really a journalist. Someone who penned a banter on Facebook. He wrote something. So Pirates was not playing last week. But they still came in hand, and it's fine because they are not playing this week as well, which is kind of questionable, and I'm trying to understand why because they have a game in hand, but still they are not playing. The Jalama team that don't have game in hands, but we're gonna talk about that. So the next game we're gonna go straight to is Mamelodi Sundowns up against Al Hilal from Sudan. I remember that I said in the previous episode Al Hilal was from Egypt. Apologies for that. It's actually from Sudan. Hey. What a game. What a game. A beautiful goal from Tebza. Bafetu, we need to give Tebogo Mukwena Bafetu his flowers. One of the best players we have in South Africa, Bafetu. Great. Tebza deserves to play to international, deserves to play in the big leagues in the world. He's such a great, amazing midfielder. What a beautiful start as well from him. And then Saleh is also, so Al Saleh scored the first goal. But hey, some blunders, man. I mean, well, it's not really, I won't say it's a blunder from Rowan Williams, but like a goalkeeper his caliber for me, I'm a Kolamgenele man, questionable, This is a Bafana number 1, so it's questionable, really. I think Rowan Williams is slowly losing his form. And it's something that we as South Africans should be really worried because we're going to the World Cup and our number 1 goalkeeper is really not doing well. Let's just be honest, Buffett is not doing well. It's not about what are you supporting, whatever, but when you're being honest, he's not doing well. And we should be worried. But maybe we should also not be worried because, we got keeper like Kuliana from Sikukune who's doing very well. You've got Sipho Chain who's also doing very well. You've got Brendan Peterson from Chiefs as well doing very well. So maybe it's a time to actually for Rowan Williams to ask himself if he's really going to be a number 1. But the tricky thing is that he's also a captain of Bafana. So that is also questionable. Tell me what you think about that actually. What do you think about Rowan Williams? Do you think if for me or you think it's just an era that Sundowns is going through. It's not about Rowan Williams. So tell us what you think. Please drop the comment there. Sundowns, but they're still on top. So they're still on top even though they got a draw, which was I think for me not a good result because this team Al Hilal scored 2 goals at home. It's gonna be very difficult, but Let's hope for the best because Sundowns is really a good team. I think they can go to Sudan and come back with a win. We hope so. So that they can get and go to like knockout stages and maybe even go to the semi-final and maybe even win it if possible. Yeah. And then Kaizer Chiefs up against Zesco United, Zambia. First of all, look around their corner, guys. Like, come on, my friends. This we're talking about CAF Confederations Cup. You can't. I'm also asking myself, how did CAF agreed on that kind of a stadium? Whereas Chiefs wanted to play some of the games at Dobsonville Stadium, but they said it's not good enough according to CAF rules. But that stadium, Chiefs United, it's not a good ground. Dobsonville is better. Ellis Park is better. But then you couldn't say yes to Dobsonville, but you said yes to that. Or maybe that's the best that they have in Zambia. It's questionable, honestly. For me, I'm really questioning that because come on. But the game was really bad. Like I think that was the worst performance for Kaizer Chiefs this season. Honestly, there was nothing. They got a goal early, 2 minutes into the game. Pule mode in a corner. It was a set piece, a corner. They made a mistake. That's United. Pule mode found himself tap in. Good, a goal. That's it. That's what happened. There's nothing else. That's literally what happened in the entire game. So but yeah, they got out. They came back with a point, which is fair enough because they came back with 3 points plus a goal, an away goal, which also give them a boost. They at least got down in 4 points. So what they need to do now, they're playing against Zesco United next week at home in Mapida. So they have to make sure that they beat Zesco United again so that they can get to 7 points and then make sure that they beat either Zamalek or Al Masar. One between the two, they beat that, and then they can get a draw or a lose to one. So if they beat Zesco United and then they beat one between Al Masar or Zamalek, and then they get a draw in one or lose, then they're gonna go straight to the second round, to the knockout stages. So it is possible. They're still open. It's only on them. Chiefs just need to make sure that they themselves do well. But a big shout out to Kaizer Chiefs defense. They're really doing well. They've been considered this year. They say they're the Chiefs. So they played 2 games without considering, and that's 13 clean sheet for Brendan Peterson, which is actually is 14, I think, if it's Balan in a CAF. Because 13 clean sheets. Brendan Peterson, which is very plausible because last season they really considered a lot of goals. I was one of the teams that considered more goals in the Betway Premiership. So I think the defense is doing very well. The combination guys, Zita Kwinika, Inacho Mikel is really combinating very well, and then Eden McCarthy on the side, and Tabisa Monyana or sometimes Solomon. So yeah, pick up to that, and pick up to Eden as well, because Eden usually played 4, but ever since Upredel Cross Elimele, Eden McCarthy came in to shout 3, and he's been doing very well. So a big shout out to that. And I think there's also a beautiful combination, Gama Boy, no Ndlovu also. Yeah, so it's beautiful, man. I think it's beautiful. Also, when you're looking at the top of looking at the league, Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates, Sundowns, all the 3, they are top 3. This is amazing. That's what we want to see in the South African football. It is very important. And I want to pick out one thing, actually. A big shout out to Pulemode, because he's been getting a lot of criticism that he's not doing well. And it's good that he's the one who scored a goal. And I think it's also, people are saying different. But when you look at Pulemode, one of the reasons why coaches prefer Pulemode. Nabi used to play Pulemode. Even Ben, no Cedric, they are doing the same thing. And the reason why, I think people need to understand this, Pulemode is one of the midfielders or a wide who's able to be very helpful defensively. He's able to come back and help when it comes to defend. But when you look at Abadala Bafana Nobo Vilagazi, Velebai, Shabalala, Batman and all those guys, they don't really good with marking. So Pulemode is really good with pressing. So I think that's one of the reasons why he played more than all of them. It's something that we really need to understand as fans, as supporters, especially Kaizer Chiefs supporters. They need to understand that. But So that's what happened in the weekend. Tell us what you think about the result at the Angry weekend, and then we got straight to this week. So midweek we have games that are coming up. Betway Premiership. We've obviously got on the 27th of January, we have Rumo Gallants up against Kaizer Chiefs. And then on the 28th of January, we've got Richards Bay up against Golden Arrows. And then on the 30th of January, we've got Chippa United up against Durban City. On the 27th of January, we're supposed to have Mamelodi Sundowns up against Sekhukhune, but the game was postponed. I'm not sure what happened, but the game was postponed. We're definitely going to find out what happened. Please make sure that you check out iDiski Waya Waya on Facebook, because that's where you're going to update the breaking news and the news about South African football. So before we actually look at, I want to look at the log. I want to talk about the log, and then that's going to be the last thing that I'm looking at in this episode. But before then, I want to do some predictions. Marumo Gallants up against Kaizer Chiefs. I'm seeing Chiefs with a 1-0 win. I think they're gonna get a win there. Richards Bay up against Golden Arrows. I see Golden Arrows winning 1-0. Chippa United up against Durban City. I see a draw, 0-0 draw. So tell us what you think about those predictions. And also, guys, Pirates is not playing, and they still have a game in hand. So let's have a conversation about that. What do you think? Why they are not playing in the midweek? Let's talk about it. What do you think? What happening? Yeah, because they have a game in hand, but they're still not playing. It's a really questionable. It's something that we really need to start talking about. But yeah, before we end, let's talk about the log. So guys, there's something interesting that's happening in the Betway Premiership. The big three are really fighting for the league. Remember in the previous one of the previous episodes, I said Chiefs is still part of the equation. So people shouldn't really cancel Chiefs out, because May is still far. Chiefs is on 27 points with 14 games, which means they're going to have 15 games by the 27th of January, which basically means if they win that game on Tuesday, they're going to get to 30 points. And Sundowns is not going to be playing, obviously, which means they're going to get to 30 points with 15 games. They're going to get on top. Right? Because Pirates and Sundowns are not playing. Pirates and Sundowns are on 29 points both. But Sundowns have 14 games. Pirates have 13 games. So it means now Pirates will have a game in hand compared to Chiefs, one game in hand. Then Pirates will have 2 games in hand. So you see that it is possible, because anything can happen. A game in hand it doesn't mean that it's a win. It doesn't mean that it's a draw. It can be a lose. So I think a lot is going to be, I think there's something interesting that's happening there on top of the table. But tell us what you think. So Pirates is at the moment, Sundowns is number 1 with 29 points. Obviously, they've got a better goal difference. And then Pirates is number 2 with 29 points. They 29 points. And then Chiefs is number 3 with 27 points. Then Mama Zulu are number 4 with 27 points. But they've got 15 games already. That's also interesting. I think a big shout out to Atazwan as well for really doing well with Amazulu. Amazulu are really part of the top 4, guys. It's interesting. It's amazing. We're gonna see. I think we're gonna see surprises in this Betway Premiership. Yeah. But it's gonna be interesting to see. And what's interesting is that Chiefs isazodlala ne-Sundowns in the second round. So bona kuzokwenzakalani lapho. Chiefs isazodlala ne-Pirates. Isazobona kuzokwenzakalani lapho. Pirates isazodlala ne-Sundowns. Isazobona kuzokwenzakalani. So I personally think that the deciding of the league is going to happen in March. So February, we're going to play together. In March, we will know. The person will be staying on top on March. If on top with 6 points, I think the league was ithatha, because remember, so now we met the team, and they just need to make sure that they get points to the team. So it's going to be interesting. Tell us what you think, Buffett. What do you think about a Premiership? Should we cut Chiefs out of the picture, or should we have Chiefs in the picture? Let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your love. Thank you so much to keep on supporting. Please keep on supporting. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel. Please make sure that you follow us on our social media. TikTok, it is Waya Waya. Everywhere, Facebook, it is Waya Waya. And please tell your friends to tell their friend that it is Waya Waya. It's happening. Please make sure subscribe. See you on the next one. Same time, same place. Bye. Danke. Salute.